Hello everyone. This is kind of where we left off with the last video. We had the shard animated quite properly finally. And there's already some smoke, which I somewhat optimized. And then there's still the weird ice flakes I haven't updated yet, so I'm going to do that soon. Additionally, I'm going to need some small chunks of ice that are moving upwards to the side due to the impact. And yeah, let's just start there. I think we can get quite some things done today. So let's see. I'm gonna close this for now, and I'm gonna make sure that this isn't running in real time, just to save a little bit of performance. All right. So I got a few ice chunks in here. This is basically the whole setup for all the ice effects that I want to make eventually, but I imported a few very small ones that I made with from 4 fracture. If you don't know what 4 fracture is, I suggest you look it up because it's really cool. And yeah, what else? We also need some new ice flakes. So I did a little bit of testing initially, and I think I got something that might be interesting. I got a few custom shapes, and those are basically the unique snowflakes that everyone wants to be nowadays. So I got those, and I'm gonna add a few filters to it and give it a little bit of depth, and then I'm gonna bake out a normal map out of that. Combine the two and have some nice ice shard thingies flowing away from all the ice and impacts and that kind of stuff, just for a little bit more of additional detail. So I'm gonna make 3 more, then combine them into one texture and generate a normal map for that. So this one is done-ish. I can make it a little bit bigger if I want to. So let's do that. Let's fill the whole range. At the moment they are quite big. They're 1000 by 1000 pixels, but I'm gonna make them a bit smaller later on. I just want all the detail that I can get in just for now. So I need 3 more. I'm gonna just copy the background color and Control N, enter, Control V, not Control M, apologies, Control N, enter, Control V, Control N, enter, Control V. So now we have 4 of them going, with this one being the first. So I'm gonna see if I can find another cool shard. This is the one we had was with 6 angles. We can make one with 5, but they're quite the same. So I'm gonna see if I can find another one that looks quite interesting. That one looks the same as well. Did not expect that. What's this one? I don't like that one either. So we're just gonna keep going until we find one. Might be best if we just grab a few, see if it looks okay. I can lift it, that one. Though this one looks quite cool, I want them all to be attached. That might look better. What else do we have? This one looks a bit too basic, a bit too simple. But we don't want too overly complex things, so that one might actually work. That way we have this, that, and let's get one that's a bit different compared to the rest. This is quite a generic snowflake style, I think. Just in case, I'm gonna look at a few others. These are all quite complex shapes though, but let's see. That could work. Oh, that one is intense. Let's not go for that one. A few more. Another quite complex one. That one might actually go as well. It's also a nice different comparison compared to the other ones. This one is more flowy. This one is a bit more ornated and detailed. This one's quite simple, but would look okay. And this one is a bit more like the generic unique snowflake. So let's go with those. All right. I want to move it to the center first. And there, I'm gonna make it bigger. That should be fine. And I need it to be white. So there we go. And I need to duplicate it and add an invisible layer because I don't want this to be shape. I want just to be a layer. Let's rotate it a little bit. Oh, I need to rotate both. If Photoshop allows me to. And there. Let's see if we can rotate it a little bit better. I don't think there's any real advantages in this, but I can make it a little bit bigger this way. All right, now let's apply a cloud texture to this. Let me duplicate it one more time and make sure it's not a shape, just a layer. Select everything inside, and my gray is about just slightly above it. You can see the values here, of course. I'm gonna filter render clouds, which applies a nice noise texture. Deselect the selection, and then blur, Gaussian blur, and depending on the size, you should change it a little bit, but 6.8 seems to work for me. I'm gonna duplicate the shape one more time. Make sure that the cloud version is set to difference. There we go. I'm going to combine the two with Ctrl E. I'm going to go to filter gallery. My sumi is already set up properly. Stroke width of 9 seems to work fine. Stroke pressure of 2 and a contrast of 40. I'm going to press OK. And as you can see, there's a bit more depth in there, and I'm going to use that for the normal maps. I'm going to do it a few more times with these. So first off, I need this to be white. Let me move it to the center a little bit more. There. Make it slightly bigger, see if there's any advantages in the rotation, but there barely isn't. But for now, this is fine. Duplicate it once more. And now it's just a repetitive action, where I select the insides, render the noise for the clouds, and deselect it, filter, Gaussian blur. Duplicate the shape one more time, set it to difference, combine the two, and hope that the sumi E in the filter gallery does its magic. You might need to change the values a little bit to have a bit more contrast. Or stroke pressure, as you can see. Stroke width doesn't seem to do that much, but you just want to get a little bit more of that depth going on. Sometimes you might want to increase the blur amount, which I'm actually going to do now. I'm going to Ctrl Z a bit out of it, go back to this one. Let's see. Back to the selection. I might want to go with a hopefully different cloud. Filter render clouds again. See if that works a little bit. Then filter blur, Gaussian blur. Increase it a little bit to about 8 point something. Duplicate the shape again. Go to difference. There's a bit better white. It should work. Combine the two. And see if the sumi filter does a little bit better now. I don't want the stroke pressure to be too high, because that will lose some of the sharpness. And then just see if there's any stroke width that gives it a bit more depth. Sometimes lowering the contrast can help as well, but about there's fine. See if there's any stroke width that looks okay. This one seems to be fine. Increase the contrast just a little bit. And there we have the third one already. Now, this shape, I'm not sure it's gonna work, but we'll see. I'm gonna move it a little bit to the center again. There. I'm gonna make it white. I know this is quite repetitive, but trust me, game dev is repetitive as hell. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate it 2 times. I'm gonna make the top one a regular layer. Select the innards. Filter render clouds. Again, deselect. Blur Gaussian blur. This shape is a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna keep the radius like this for now. Hopefully it will work. I'm gonna set it to difference. There's some nice white edges, so it might work. Combine the shape, and let's see what Sami wants to do this time. Stroke pressure is a bit high. I'm gonna lower that. So there are some nice shapes in there. See what happens when I increase the stroke width. That might be a bit high, but should be fine. What happens if we lower or increase the contrast? Okay, I want all the really high-end black stuff to be gone. Stroke pressure between 1 and 2 is not possible, but this should work. There we go. This should give some nice depth, and that will help with the normal map and add some nice reflective effects to it. So now that we got these, there's also the layer underneath it that I kept. And I'm probably going to use those for masking purposes, because masking this one is a bit messy. So I need to make sure that I get all those going. I'm gonna do a bit of a weird way of doing that, but it works for me. So first I'm gonna rotate it a little bit, see if I can grab a little bit more space. And increase the size a little bit. There. That's one. That one is already not well placed. We could make it a little bit bigger. There. That one seems fine, and so does this one. So what I'm gonna do is just apply a black layer in between every one of them. And there. I always like to keep a separate black layer in case I mess something up. Alright, let's go back to this one where I had some test cases. I'm gonna delete those. As you can see, it's a 2K by 2K texture. I'm gonna reduce that. Let's grab the first layer, combine them, and paste it here. Same for this one. Paste it here. Oh. Combine those. More pasting. And the last one should be this one. There. Actually, can I make it a little bit bigger still? Is there... not worth it. Okay. Combine these and paste them in as well. I'm gonna activate the grid with Control and tilde or whatever the right word for it is. Move them all to separate spaces. Now make sure that they all snap. Come on, snap. There you go. So these are now all placed where I want them to be. I'm gonna merge them. I always like to do this for some reason. Might be an OCD thing. I'm gonna save this as something random on the desktop probably, because I like to delete something and I often forget deleting them unless it's on the desktop. So I'm just gonna call these snowflakes. No compression needed. And now we need bitmap to material. And let's see, where do I keep those? Bitmap to material. There we go. Might take a while to load. Obviously, needs some updating as well. Well, 4 new items in my inventory. Okay. Open. Let me minimize all the things for a second. And actually grab the snowflake and import it as the main. Now the texture size I still want to have on 2K, so I'm going to select those. And I only need a normal map, and it needs to be quite clean, but quite good as well. I have the 3D thing here, but if I move it about, then it just gets placed there. Let me zoom in a little bit. There. So I'm going to keep this 3D view on my second screen for now, because I need to look at it a bit better than this. Okay, now to the relief or normal map stuff. Let's increase and decrease until we get something that looks nice. Now, personally, I always like to overdo the normal maps a bit, because I can always reduce them a little bit in Unreal Engine. I'm just going to see what looks nice, and a bit blurred out might actually work in my advantage in this case. I'm going to keep this one quite high, and let's see what we can do with the high frequencies. Okay, we can also increase the normal intensity overall. But this should still nice and clean. You also have a relief pinch, which makes the edges sharper like this, which can also look quite nice in a more stylized environment. But in this case, we need it to be just nice and zero. Alright, so the result, I'm gonna just move these a bit about. It's a very simple normal map that will allow me to add some nice shiny effect on the whole snowflake. Particularly, I really like this one. This one might be a bit too simple. In the worst case, I can always replace it. So there we go. We have a simple normal map that we can use. I'm gonna export it. Let's see. Anything else we need to know? We only need the normal output. I'm gonna disable all the other ones just in case. Though I am wondering, I'm just gonna go over. Let's see, roughness I can get from the simple art channel. Let me double check the height and displacement, especially in the AO. Let's see what we get there for effects. Maybe we can use something. Nah, that's all fine. I'm gonna only export a normal. I only want the normal map. I don't need any of the metadata stuff. And I like to save it as a PNG. I'm gonna save it on my desktop again, because I need to delete this anyway. Base name is fine. I'm gonna rename it anyway. So export. I'm waiting. All right, I don't think I need this anymore, so I'm just gonna close it and forget about it. And get this one into Photoshop as well. We close all the other ones. Oh wait, I need those still. So Photoshop, be kind, and my normal map. There we go. I'm gonna invert the green channel, and now they look more bulgy. That's something between Substance and Unreal Engine 4 anyway. So I got this, and it can be quite small. I'm gonna change the image size to about, well, 512 might actually work, but we can always lower it later. I'm gonna save this. I'm not going to save it on my desktop. Let's do it in art and design. Actually work. And then 2017 ice pack. Textures. T_. Snowflakes. Actually ice coaster. Snowflakes. Normal. And save it. And I forgot to set it as 8-bit. So image adjustments. Mode, I mean 8-bit. Here we go. Save it again. And well, it's saving. Actually just finished. I need to get the mask version of this going as well. Now, I'm not sure if I actually want to use this because there's quite some blacks in there and not really any really useful information. So I might delete them. I want to see one more thing. Add a screen. See if that helps, but no. Okay. So let's grab the mask once. I want to make sure that it's actually the white one. There we go. Paste those again. And the last one. Now, worst case, I can always expand the edges a little bit. That's fine. So, but I hope this will work in my favor. Combine them and see if they are overlapping. All of them look fine, minus the top one, so. It's better. Okay. And this will be our mask texture. And I don't think I need anything else besides this and the normal map. So I'm gonna copy this and see what went wrong. You can see I moved some weird things. I need to Ctrl-Z out of it a little bit and wonder what messed up. That one is fine. Okay, let's hope that this time it works as expected. That's better. Combine them. And let's decrease the image. 1024. It's still a bit big. Like I said, you can always scale them back later. All right, I'm gonna save this as well. A mask. Okay, and let's see what we can do with them in Unreal Engine. I need to go to the textures, ice coaster, and import them. This is inside of work. 2017 ice pack textures. Here we go. Now, since this is only one layer, one channel, I'm going to set it to alpha. I don't need an alpha channel. Wrap is fine. Anything else is fine. So this should be effects. There we go. I wonder if I need to disable the map settings, but we can always check that later. And make sure that this is a normal map. There's no effects normal map, sadly, so I'm not going to use that. Anything else should be fine. Let's make a material. I'm going to save everything first, of course. And let's go to material, ice caster, additionals. You already have a snowflakes thing here going. So back to the textures and place them both here. Now this cannot be a unlit, so we're just gonna use a masked default lit one and see if that works properly. I'm just gonna apply the normal map directly right now and make sure that this goes to opacity mask. And not much is showing at the moment, of course. But that should work if we add some color to it. So that might not be the whole case. We'll see. Might also help to not have it on emissive, but just apply the base color. Now if I move the normal map around, as you can see, there's some depth in these sprites, and that will add quite a nice effect. Now you can also make them translucent, of course. But I don't think that will really benefit anything. Not sure yet though. And I'm allowed to change my opinion on that. Let's see what anything else we need. This is actually tangent space normal map, so I need to enable that. And fully rough, I also need to disable. Because I want them to be really nice and shiny. There. That gives her a very nice shiny look to it. And to add a little bit more depth to it, I also want to have a noise texture. Let's see. Textures and regular noises. And I'm probably going to use the same one I use on the big crystals. So that's one of these. I'm checking if there's anything else that might caught my eye, but no. I'm going to drag and drop one of those in. Let's try this one first with a bump offset. I'm actually going to have 2x2 for now. Just a random guess, nothing special. -10 often works, so let's try that. And let's just multiply that with the color for now. It's a bit over the top, as you can see. But we can always change that. Though it does give this nice depth effect. -10 might be a bit too much for these, so I'm gonna do -5, see if that helps. I'm actually gonna have offset. There we go. It looks quite nice already. It needs a little bit more, of course, but well, first of all, it doesn't need to have the whole extent of this noise map. So I'm gonna lower it quite a bit. There. And I'm actually gonna add it instead of multiplying. And see if that helps. It does. Now, I'm going to use particle color for this instead of the regular color I just put in here. But since we already have the opacity mask getting the shape of this thing, we don't actually need to multiply it with that. I'm going to remove that. There we go. We also don't need the depth fade in this case. I'm going to remove those. And I can use a flatten normal to flat out the normal or make it more intense if I want to. I'm just going to add a scalar for now. Oh. Call flatten normal. And to show you what's going on, I'm going to preview this one. And let's check the flatten normal. The default value of 1 makes it totally flat. The default value of -1 actually makes it worse, way worse until, well, this is just extreme. This will be whole mountain ranges. So -0.1 maybe. And let's stop previewing. I'm gonna remove that color. Actually, maybe I want to add some color to the noise effect before it's applied to it. Let's see if that actually helps. Let's move this one over there. Get this multiply out of the way. There. No, that doesn't give me the effect that I want. So back to a multiply here. I need to goof around a little bit with this, but it should give me a nice effect. Now, I'm also going to do something with emissive color, so I'm just going to plug that in here. I might be able to remove the base color entirely. Let's increase this value a little bit. See if that actually does something and we can tweak accordingly. I'm going to save this. And I'm going to go to the emitter that initially emitted these effects. Where are you? Particle systems. There you go. Now this is the snowflakes effect. And as you can see, it's only emitting that one. So let's change that. It should be random, which it already is. 2 by 2. So I'm wondering what's going on there. Let's add a particle sub UV index and make it a uniform between 1 and 3, 0 and 3. That should emit all kinds of different ones, though it's a bit hard to tell. So let's move the orbit, the gamma offset for now, and increase the sphere by about 3-fold. Make it move nice and slow. You can see there are quite a few different ones now. The only one I haven't seen though is, oh, it's just here. Never mind. There, now we're emitting all 4 different ones. I'm gonna go back to normal speed and decrease the effect. There we go. Let's add a rotation. That way everyone starts with a different rotation. And also add in the rotation rate. That way they are also moving. Now I don't want them to be moving either very fast or very slow. So I'm going to make it a bit more gentle. Like a minus 0.2 to 0.2. Maybe a bit faster though. Maybe let them only rotate to one direction. That might help. There. So that already adds quite a bit. Let's go to color over life, which is fine. the scale color might be a bit high. So let's just start with 0 and see what we can do here. And as you can tell, I kind of might have been going over the top with the effect on these things when it's so small. Let me show you it inside the skeletal animation. You can see they are being spawned and they are quite aggressively visible, and they should not be that over the top in the way. So I can actually reduce the effect of this. I mean, you'll never tell, you can never really tell that there's depth in here anyway. So that was kind of futile effort. Just gonna plug this into image directly. And just a little bit of the non-map should be fine in that case. We might even get away with that as well. So I might use it later on a later date and use these as a bigger effect. Okay, let's go to the scale color. It looks better, though they might feel a little bit too big. So I'm going to go to initial size, reduce them all by quite a bit. And there. And I don't really like them to be on top all the time, so I'm going to disable the camera offset for now. And perhaps spawn a few more. So there are already quite a lot, so this does look better, in my humble opinion. This is a nice sparkly effect, and if anybody ever decides to zoom in, they cannot actually see them all. Now, these should definitely not be local space. I'm going to double check. They aren't. And I want to make them move outwards a little bit more. And additionally add a little bit more of the offsets. Let's try 30 on here. And 30 on there. It gives it a bit wider range of movement. And I'm gonna make sure that velocity scale is a bit higher. So a minus of 2 and maybe 20. That should give them quite a long movement time and also increase the maximum lifetime. There's still something going on here, even though it's local space. So I'm gonna see if I can do something about that. Maybe that helps. I'm not really fond of them moving this fast in the beginning, as you can see here. And I shouldn't actually really do that because it's not local space. Let's see if that changes when I disable orbit. It does. Apparently orbit is always affected by that. Okay. Well, in that case, let's just disable the orbit altogether. Because this sells the effect way better than the whole chaotic effect that was before. Now there's going to be a few more effects. I want an effect that shoots the ice shard. I might want to have something in the beginning before the ice shard spawns, though this fast spawning actually does look kind of cool. And I obviously need quite a lot of effects when it hits the floor. So yeah, let's do an effect that hits the floor. For that, I'm gonna need quite a few small sprite effects, a little bit of the smoke effect that I already got here, so I can just copy and paste that. But I also need actual chunks, mesh chunks. So let's do that. I'm gonna close this because I don't want it running on the background when I'm doing that. Now, for all of these meshes, I actually made a high poly version and then bake it down to a low poly version and get a right normal map and apply some filters and whatever in Photoshop. But for these small chunks, nobody's ever gonna really pause them, take such a look at them that, well, you can really see all the amazing detail that I put in the other ones. I'm just gonna use the texture that I already have and just apply it so it looks decent enough. So I think, oh, apologies. I already got a material set up for this. I'm gonna apply it to those three I select. If you're wondering what the texture is, it's nothing too special. Ice group 1 occlusion. Are you? Ice group 1. Projectile razor. I can tell that I'm just... Let's do it again. There we go. It's this one. I'm gonna open it real quick. It's just a texture that I baked down. And I'm gonna use this and just apply some UVs with those small shards and see if it looks sort of okay. It doesn't need to be very accurately done, so let's see what we can do with those. Apply it to the selected. I actually want to see them. Oh, there. Let's grab the first one. Actually, just grab all of them. Isolate them. And apply better unwrapping to it. I hope there's any unwrapping done. Apparently there is. Let's just get the ice crystal going. I'm gonna separate all of them. And since I don't want to do this 3 more times, actually select them both. All 3 of them. Open in UV editor and do it like that. Now, I've been doing this, but you can do it way faster, of course, by just pressing this element thing, the pack custom, and get this going. All I need to do is make sure that everything fits inside of these shards. Preferable all in the same size, of course. And that might be problematic because some of them are a bit big. So just in case, if 3dsMax allows me to do stuff, the file size is a bit big, so every time it saves, it takes a few seconds. And the other programs that I have open aren't helping either. So come on, 3dsMax, please allow me to continue my work. Thank you. I'm gonna make them all a little bit smaller. It gives me a little bit more wiggle room. A little bit of rescaling is fine though, but I feel that if I don't need to, it will help with the overall look. Okay, rotate this like that. Make it a little bit smaller. Oh. And just proceed. So all of these are filled. Now I also want to try and make sure that I don't use the same area of the UV all the time. So I want to make sure that every angle looks unique. So that's it with all these big shapes. I kind of need to make sure that they actually fit within this thing. This one is quite small. And I hope that there are at least a few that I can just place without too much hassle. There, this one is quite long. Let's see. I fit exactly in here. There, that should be fine. A few more. Let's see. Let's pick it up the top here. There. I don't really want to use the big one, so let's see if we can fiddle it around in here. There. One more. And I really want to use at least the bottom part of one of these, but not much wiggle room for that. To make it a little bit smaller, rotate a little bit, but that's about all I can do. So this should be fine-ish. And that will result in them looking like this. Now it's not perfect, as you can tell, but there's at least enough interesting shape movement going on that it looks decent enough. I mean, yeah, this is kind of ugly, but I think it will look okay from a distance. So as you can see, especially when the material that's applied in a few seconds, it should all look okay. So I'm going to rename them. My rename objects tool is a little bit different because Leon, who made origami, changed the code a little bit for me. So everything from the left to the right gets numbered properly. So the base name is going to be static mesh. Nowadays I always call it VSFX, but in this case it's going to be for the ice caster pack. So I'm going to name it like that. And then call them ice chunk. And numbered from 1 to the last one. And this one should be ice chunk 01, ice chunk 02, and ice chunk 03. I'm going to export them all together with Josh Balkan's import export tool. I wonder if I still have the right folders in here. No. I'm going to find a new one. Let's go all the way to art and design, work, 2017 ice pack, max files, FBX ZBrush. Well, I'm going to put it in there because I don't have a separate FBX location. This is taking longer than I expected it to work, but apparently it's saving again. This should be the last time though. Give it a few seconds. There we go. Export the selected 3. This should be very quick. Though 3dSMax has been annoying all day. In the meantime, I don't need anything here. So I want to keep them open for a bit longer. I'm wondering what's going on, why it's taking so long. Alright, is that it? Finally, thank you, Max. I'm gonna save it real quick. That might take a little bit, but we can already import them in here. So, static meshes, ice caster. Import them. I actually called them ice underscore. Again, you really need to rename them all eventually, but okay. Everything should be fine. Import. And I need to make sure that I have the right material for it. So let's see, it's the one with the baked ice crystal group. Materials. Ice crystal group is the one. Open that just in case I forget where it is. Back to the static meshes. Open these three. And since this is done, I'm going to close it for now. And these opened on my other window. There. Now I still have the texture going. I'm going to find it in the content browser. I can easily apply it. And there. As you can see, it's a bit jaggy and I could definitely render out a way better one. But this should be fine for now. And if it's to come, I can always edit them. But I want to work faster now because I only have a few days left and things have been quite hectic and chaotic at my end. So I'm going to close that. Save them all. And go and make a new particle system in the ice cluster. First of all, I'm going to generate a thumbnail for this one. And get a new particle system going. I'll rename them properly if I ever make a package out of them, but for now this is fine. And I'm also going to open that skeletal effect again. And what else do I need? I need the other previous particle system as well. I can easily copy and paste some stuff. There. So on impact, it should shoot the shards. And since this effect is going a little bit to the right, I want the effect to jump a little bit to the right, more than to the left as well. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Now, I animated it in the wrong direction. Normally you use the X plus and move it to the left or right side, but this should be fine. You can always rotate it in the blueprint or whatever. Better yet, I can easily export the animation rotator. But for now, let's go to the particle system. Let's start with scratch. It needs to be local space, skill incomplete. Anything else in here is not really that important at the moment, though we need one emitter loop. Now we need the initial size to be 1 for now, else the meshes are extremely big. And I don't want any initial velocity just yet, but okay, we'll get there once we get there. I'll make sure that the type data is a mesh data, of course, and I'm going to be sure that I select the meshes I made, which I should have opened before. So, ice cluster, let's select one of the chunks. Here we go. Apply it. You don't need to overwrite the material. Now, the initial velocity is going to be quite to the right, and I kind of want to rotate the animation first before I do that. So let's see if I can do that without screwing too much stuff up. In the meantime, I'm going to open 3dSMax. Initial velocity should be about 500, I think. I'm going to add the floor so I can actually see what's going on. I'm going to add an initial mesh rotation so that not all the chunks are the same. Not initial rotation, initial mesh rot. There. And I'm also going to add initial mesh rotation rate. I don't want to move that fast, so I'm going to do about 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and minus 0.5. There. I tweak it a little bit later on. For now, it's fine. Also, I'm going to remove the initial velocity for now. and get a sphere location going. And the sphere location, as you can see, actually generates a sphere within the meshes will be emitted. Now let's say I need this to be burst, so I can remove these. And I want to burst between 10 and maybe 5 of these effects at the same time. So every time it spawns between 10 and 5. That's a start. Now I want it to have velocity, so it's moving outwards. And I want to make sure that it's not moving downwards, as you can see. So I'm going to remove the negative C. Now it only emits on the top half. And I'm going to get some more velocity going, between 5 maybe and 10. Okay, that needs to be way more, but we'll get there once we get there. First I want to do the animation real quick. Mana spike, there we go. Now I'm hoping that everything is still set correctly. If not, I'm gonna cry a little bit. But I want to make sure that everything is actually on the y-axis. So it's a bit of a weird situation, I think, because if I do it on the y-axis, then I'll need to have the effect on the y-axis, and now it's on the x-axis. So never mind, I'm gonna keep going with this. I just had a brain fart, I guess. Wouldn't be the first time. I'm gonna add some initial velocity for more different directions. Actually, the x plus should be about 500 maybe, and the y can just be a little less. Z. And since we want to move a bit more forward than backwards, I'm actually gonna lower the minimum x direction. Let's see what we can do with that. Alright, so it's already moving outward, but we need it to stop going outward. So with acceleration, we can add a drag, and drag will actually slow down the effect. I don't want everyone to be slowing down the same way, because some chunks might be bigger, some might be smaller. So I'm going to do a drag between 1 and 2. And then add a constant acceleration. That will push everything down again. And normally the gravity is minus 980. And as you can see, then you get this effect. It will fall down again. Oh, I need to tweak the lifetime, the size, and that kind of stuff still, so don't worry about that. The biggest chunk should probably be about 1/2 a size. And the smallest, half the size. There. Now since we have 3 chunks, I don't want to spam too many, because that shard isn't that big. And we can already test this. I'm gonna save this. And at the right time, I need to apply a new particle system. So let's add a play particle effect. Let's select the particle effect for that. I'm gonna go quickly to my content browser that's off screen. Grab the impact effect, and that might actually not work because it needs to emit right at this moment, and this thing is rotated and all that kind of stuff, but we can at least test something. Play particle effect. Where is my particle effect? I don't want the animation, the details, there we go. Particle system. This is not attached to the socket, that should work. And now we need to time. For that we need it to be a bit slower actually, but you can see that the effect already stopped playing, but we can actually time when it hits the floor. And let's do it about there. And now let's play again. And you can tell that the color is off. I can easily tweak those later. But for now this is okay. I think the chunks are a little bit too big still, so I'm gonna actually reduce those. 0.21 and maybe 0.25. I wish I could record two screens at the same time and show you what's going on. And I also forgot something else that might help, because I'm recording at 4K and not everyone has 4K screens. And when you look back at this in 1K, sometimes these things look a bit odd. So let's see if I can find where we changed that. I think it was in appearance, but I'm not sure anymore. So let's see. Where was it? I'm gonna look real quick. If I can't find it, then I'm gonna apologize. Los Angeles, play credentials, content editors, no. Where was it? Live streaming. Okay. Let me think, where was it? I'm gonna scroll real quick, my English. And there's so many. I don't need to keep pushing this. Global, open source, experimental. No. It should be in appearance, but I can't remember where. Yeah, I think I might gonna skip for this time and find how to change it again later, because I totally forgot. It's been a while. Widget designer, viewports, player miscellaneous. No. FBX compatibility. Wait, there's an FBX the fuck? Okay, apologies for that word, but never seen that. Okay. Learn saving, keyboard, global, experimental. Oh well, never mind. I'll do that later. So I wanted to move a bit more to the right, as you can see. Let's do that right now. Let's add about 1,000 to that direction. Let's see, it's moving way more to the right now. And that's kind of what I want. I don't want them all to move upwards, and I'm gonna need 3 more emitters, so. Now, we can also make them react to collision. I think actor collision was the one that I needed. I'm not sure anymore. I keep forgetting which one it is that I need. Not compatible with an opaque material, so that's not the one. Let's see. World static, yada. Max collision distance, delay amount. That should be about 1 second. Particle mass, collision types. World static should work. Option, halt, freeze, translation. Why is none of them working? Again, it's been a while. I don't think this is really gonna help. Collision is, yeah, particle size, actor collision, damping factor. Should work. No. Distribution, damping factor, yada yada. Max collisions 2. I'm gonna try this in here because I want to find out why it's not working. Do they not have collision, my shards? Mesh data. Show collision, where are you? With all these small things, extremely small for now, especially for you people. That might be a bit annoying to see. Okay, no collision. There should be collision though. And I really don't like the socket manager at all. Okay. Collision add simple 10 dot? No. $18 dot might be a bit too much still. This is probably the better collision type though. Yeah, it should be good enough. Not sure if it's actually gonna work now, but I wonder why it's going through still. I can tell it's been a while, but this long? Okay, I don't want to waste anybody's time anymore. I am probably going to pause it for real quick and open a project where I know that I've set this up properly because this makes no sense. Okay, where's my OBS? So I opened another project from Red Roger actually, and as you can see here, there's some response to the floor. I'm going to copy those values because I'm not sure what's going on, why it's wrong. So let's change the distribution to about 0.7 and 0.2. There we go. Anything else? Everything should be different here. These values should all be 1. And the distribution flow value, let's change it between 2 and 4. Okay, that should be something again. Let's increase the lifetime a little bit, at least half of them. Back to the actor collision. It should be set to kill, and underneath it, it should be world static. Ignore trigger volumes. Delay amount should be 0. That should be fine. Everything is now set as it is on the mesh data. So I'm not sure what's going on. It should act on a hit, but maybe this. Why are you messing up? Tell me, sweet Unreal Engine, why is the collisions not working? Collision types. There. What static? No, apply physics, particle mass. I have no idea what's going on. No, that's 7, none, different. Distribution, none, can be baked. Load. World static, apply physics. How odd. Particle mass is all fine, can be baked. Vertical fudge vector. Also fine. There seems to be a reaction somewhere, but not sure what's going on and why it's messing up. Are they hitting each other? They might actually hit each other. That might be a thing. Let's do only surface only. Makes the impact smaller. I have no idea what's going on. Let's double check. Preview. Collision, simple. Box collision. Save. There we go. Apparently it did not have collision. That's me definitely messing up again. Now I can at least close the Red Rogers thing. And move the sphere back. Apologies for that. That's the kind of thing you do have to consider. A lot of times when you have something that you're not sure what's going on, it's almost always the last thing. Well, it's obviously the last thing you will find, but sometimes you just hit a wall and you're not sure why. In this case, it was a collision of a mesh that I imported that I forgot to enable. So now at least we have the collision going. I'm going to move the sphere back to 0. But since it's already hitting the floor, I actually want to have a delay on the collision. So about 0.2 should be fine. That way it doesn't hit the floor the moment it spawns. There. And if I save now and check it in the skeletal mesh, they will go through this one though. This floor is also a bit weird on the collisions, but it should work on the one we have here right now. At least it should. Yeah, you can see it stops though. Not all of them though. We might want to increase the lifetime a little bit more. So let's do it between 1.5 and 2. And change a few other factors. Maximum collisions, let's add 3 to 5. And what else can we do? You can make them freeze, that way they stand still but still rotate. Halt collisions, that makes them drop through the floor. Freeze translation, freeze rotation, freeze movement. But we don't want that, we want them to be killed. There's scalar. See anything else? Delay amount should be fine though. I know they should bounce a little bit. I guess this is fine for now. So this one should definitely work. Yeah. Okay, well, that's enough for now. Now we got the first one going. We need 2 more. I'm gonna rename this to shards. Actually chunks. In. Duplicate and share. So we need another mesh data for this. I'm gonna replace it. Get ice chunks 02. And change a little bit of the variations. So initial velocity will be changed. Constant acceleration will be changed. The drag should be fine. So I'm going to change the constant acceleration to minus 580 or so. Makes them a bit floaty, maybe a bit too floaty. So minus 700. Just a little bit. I'm also going to change the velocity to about 600 on the X. The Y's are fine. This one should be a bit lower on the effect. So let's say 300 maximum. And maybe even 2.5 on that. Those are for the chunks that are a bit more nearby. Oh, they should be a lot smaller as well. I'm going to change the initial size for that reason. There. All right, that's chunks 2. And now we're going to go for chunks 3, which is a bit more the generic all radius effect. So I'm going to duplicate and share again. You're probably going to mess with the initial size again, so I'm going to keep that separate. I'm going to change the sphere for that. The drag is fine. Constant acceleration does need to change again. So let's go to, and the initial velocity should also change. Let's change the initial size again. 0.33. There. Now we go with velocity. And I want all the rotation and that kind of stuff to be a bit more same-ish. So I'm gonna go with about 500 and 200. That should be fine. Minus 500, minus 200, and 100. There. Now I also need to change the sphere because I want a slightly bigger velocity scale to about 8 and 16. To see what's going on, let me make that separate. Now I want a few more chunks as well, so I'm going to delete this, actually overwrite the spawn, because I want about 20 of those small chunks maximum. There. Now I kind of wanted to move a little bit more to the right as well, so we can actually do that with the constant acceleration. We're going to add a little bit more to that. Let's say 300 maybe. Okay, that's a bit much because you don't really want to see them be affected. Let's just do it initial velocity then. So let's do 500. Nah, it's a bit too much. 1000 there. And the minimum should be a bit higher as well there. Now you know that the texture that I applied on these chunks is something that's not really optimal, but when you look at them all going, then you don't really notice it that much. You just see the shards. That's the experience you get. Only because you know that the textures are wrong on that mesh, then you can notice it. There. I'm going to save it real quick and see how it looks in here. Now, as you can see, the velocity from that shard is way faster than the actual chunks that are exploding. So I'm going to add maybe 3 chunks that are much bigger and move way more to the right, because they should. For that, I'm also going to improve initial velocity of these to about 500, so that moves a bit more to the right. There, and let's actually not make these ones negative, so that they always move to the right, because it's quite a lot of mass that's moving, and I doubt that they will move to the left, really, obviously. Only the small chunks might do that, so there. Now I'm gonna add one more chunk, like I said. And I'm gonna use the same chunks that I used before, though the initial size needs to be quite bigger. There. I'm gonna make them under 5 to 1. And only spawn a few. So let's say a maximum of 4, a minimum of 3. Which also means that I need to change the initial velocity again, because I only want to move to the one direction. And since they are the main big piece, they should move quite fast still. There's a lot of velocity going on. So let's do about 750. There. And if you don't like the chunks that are being thrown away, we can always change that in the mesh data, of course. Actually, I still need to do that. Yes, I'm going to change these to chunk 3. And since I already noticed that these chunk 2s are not really that good looking for the big, I'm gonna see which ones I can use for that. I think this one looks best. There. Now for the velocity, I don't want them to go upwards that much, so I'm going to lower that quite a bit. And actually reduce to Y, because they're mainly moving forward. And I kind of want to increase this value still. Here we go. I'm also going to change the drag of this one as one of the few, because I don't want the drag to be higher than 1. So I'm going to be about 0.75 to 1. That way they are not really slowed down by the drag. As you can see, they are moving still in quite a direction. I'm going to lower that still. Now they are also interacting with each other, and that might also affect them a little bit. And I can always remove the negative X on this one as well in the sphere. So I'm going to make that a unique one. And kill the negative X. That way they only move to one direction, as you can see. I might kill the surface only. That might help a little bit as well. But since it's a sphere, that's actually a thing. It's moving towards all the directions, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to lower this to about 2 to 4. That way they stay a bit closer together. It's a bit too much, so I'm going to increase it. And perhaps tweak the velocity again until you get something that you like. There. Now in combination with all the others, it looks more like this. That looks quite nice. Now, the color of the chunks is different than the one we want, but we can go there real quick. Okay. This does feel kind of nice velocity-wise. I might want to make some of those smaller chunks a little bit bigger. So let's do that now. And the smaller ones definitely need to be a bit bigger, so 0.5 again to 0.22. That way there's a bit more volume, but still doesn't need to make sure that the volume of that shard isn't over. And I think the combination of all these shards kind of will be the same volume as this effect. Now I can remove the collision again of this chunk. Save it again. And go to the sum shard, because I want this material. And I also need a material for those. So I'm going to go to required, find that material, and duplicate it. Nope. There, because I need different values. And I'm going to compare those with these. I'm going to... Can I copy them all? No, sadly, that's not a thing. There. This should be minus 0.1. And the U shift should be exactly 0. Anything else? That should be fine. Oh, save them. Find it in the content browser again. And also find the shards. Now I already got them in here, so I'm just going to go to the mesh data, find them in the content browser, and edit them. Grab this one, and apply it to the meshes. Now it has the same color as that shard. Normally I would do it directly in the particle editor, but for now it's fine. And that results in the colors being more accurately represented. There we go. Now on impact there should also be some smoke. So I'm gonna add that right now. I'll close this and let's grab the smoke that's actually here. The cold wind. Find the other one in the content browser. And then go to the one you want to copy from. In this case, cold wind, emitter, export emitter. And now it's available here. There shouldn't be any delay. There. Emitter duration can be 1 for now. And I want this to be a bit higher. Sphere, let's say about 40 high. Yeah. Let's set the constant flow to 0 at the moment and add a burst to it of about 100 for now, so I can actually see what's going on. Pardon. The velocity I want to, and surface only, I want to add both of them. I don't want negative. Actually, we need a cylinder for this, so I'm going to kill the sphere, location, cylinder. There. The size of this thing shouldn't be too big. And also kill the visuals in the spheres here real quick. I still wish there was like a list here where you can edit them all at the same time. Okay. Surface only, velocity on, negative and positive Z should be disabled. That way it's a flat thing. Should be about 40 high, and the initial location can go away. Back to the cylinder. Let's add a higher velocity. About 10 maybe. To 15. And there are way too many being spawned, but for now this is fine. Just want to see the initial effect. Now there's also initial velocity and constant acceleration. And this one should be about 100 maybe, 200. Should move a bit to the right. There. Now we have something to play with. I'm going to reduce the spawn rate quite a bit to maybe 20. There. And increase the lifetime to about 1 and 1.5. I also want to change the constant acceleration to minus 200 maybe, so that the smoke is there a bit longer. There. It looks much better already. I'm gonna kill the 3D visual there. But I need an additional smoke going to the right. So I'm gonna duplicate this one actually. Now duplicate the share doesn't really work with GPU particles for some reason, so I'm just gonna duplicate it and get some different values going. I don't need surface only in this case. There, but I don't need to expand it that much either, so I'm gonna go between maybe 3 and 6. I'm gonna showcase only this one and add some additional things to the velocity. That moves way more to the right. That should be fine. It shouldn't go upwards that much. So maybe about 50 for this one. There. With the constant acceleration, I'm actually gonna increase that to about the double what it was before. And the combination is a bit like this. I don't like the lifetime to be that long, so I'm gonna reduce those to about 0.8 and 1.2. And see how that looks inside of here. Now I wanted to move way more to the right, so I'm going to add some more velocity to that. That should look better. And I also wanted to have a few to go a bit more upwards, so maybe 120 to 0 there. Now let's check the optimization view modes, especially the shader complexity. Now, like I said before, a little bit of white is fine, especially just because it's for fun, but I want to see if I can lower it a little bit, of course. I'll lower the spawn right here to about 15, maybe even to 10. That should still look fine, but let's do a bit more variables. So maximum of 14 and a minimum of 10. That way it's not always the same. We could do the same here. So the maximum being spawned is 20, but the minimum it should spawn is about 15. There. Constant acceleration could use a little bit lower value or negative value, so minus 550. Oh. There. And the same with this stone, though a little bit less, so minus 500. There. You see the overdraws quite a bit less now. So go back to lip mode. And there we have it. Now, we're not done yet. I want to add some of those nice sparkles to it as well. And since I'm lazy, I'm going to find this one we're working on in the content browser and get the snowflakes and the small dots there as well. I'm going to export the emitter and again, export the emitter. There we go. Now it doesn't need to work like this, of course. So we're gonna check spawn, constant, the rate scale should be constant to 1. And let's add some sparkles. Let's say about 100 to 50. There. Initial velocity should be totally different, of course. So I'm gonna go for about 1200 there. 150 there. 500 there. There should also be some negative ones. There. And since we need a drag, let's just copy and paste it from this one. And also add some constant acceleration that's actually more negative than this. Now since it's very light effect, they should go upwards way higher. So that might be a bit too much, though it's getting there. Let's check out the sphere. Let's increase the minimum to 4 and the maximum to 25. Just a bit more oomph. There. And let's increase the maximum size to 10. And since it's quite a heavy impact, I want the rotation. Oh, actually, we may be able to reuse the orbit from this one. And the camera offset. Let's increase the lifetime as well to 0.66 to 1.5. Give them a bit more airtime. What else do we need? Let's change the rotation rate to something a bit faster. It's just a little bit. It should help. Let's check it in different speeds. I kind of want the rotation rate to be a bit faster, maybe, so 1.22. That looks better. Back to full speed. All right, that looks quite nice. Now, if you want to kill everything that's underneath, you can add a kill box, but in most cases you don't really need that. What else do we need? We also have the small dots. I still have the other emitter selected in content browser, so I'm just going to go emitter, export emitter. And see what the small dots are doing. They are really small dots, and they are just for minor details. You should enable them in any other LOD, and disable them in any LOD. But let's spawn quite a few. I mean, we can go quite insane with these, so that's kind of cool. Most of one. Let's spawn about 1,000 to 500. Sphere is fine. Negative C should be disabled. And the velocity should be much higher to maybe even that. This might be a bit much. There. I'm going to increase the initial size just a little. So that's they are more visible, because you don't want them to be fully invisible. I'm going to change the orbit a bit as well. They move a bit more erratic. And additionally, I'm going to add a vector field. A local vector field, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to select, but I have quite a few, and some of them are quite nice, some of them are a bit chaotic. So let's see, shots, random noise is often quite nice. I got so many by now. Vector field chaos. Center swirls, blizzard. Vector field 1. I still need to rename quite a few of them. Okay, let's try this one. That's a bit overkill. Negative, new one, let's try that one. Intensity 100 with a tightness of 0.1. Let's raise the box a little bit to there. Let's see what it's doing actually. Let's give a nice shape, but the intensity is either too low or too high. And there, I'm actually gonna rotate vector field a bit. Then move a bit more to the right, and let's increase the intensity to something that looks more representable to what we want. Now, well, it's interesting. It doesn't really add anything that's spectacular, so I might change it. Okay. It's a bit too much to really call nice, so one fine tweaking might be needed. We still need a drag in here as well. Let's see if we can change the vector field effect a little bit. It should feel more like a splash effect, so it should work, I think. Let's increase the lifetime. Oh, that's actually quite nice. Initial location. We don't need that. Sphere. Gonna have some nice tweaks. This should be fine. Color of life is fine. Initial velocity we can change a little bit. And there. Now let's see what it looks like in here. Obviously the small ones aren't really that visible unless you get really close. And I would disable them and LOD to kill that. Now, I think that their lifetime should be much longer, so at least 1 to 2 seconds, so that they linger a little bit. Maybe even 2.5. There. Now I want to kill the constant acceleration of this to about -500. But they linger a little bit longer. And also increase the maximum lifetime. There, that some also linger. There. Now I could render out a flipbook of those chunks as well. But I don't think it's really needed in this case. I think everything's already set within this effect now. There's some nice shards going on. Some of them moving quite fast. There, that should be fine. Yeah. Make sure that everything is named correctly. Call this chunks big. This is gonna be radial smoke 1. Directional smoke. Not sure why I add 1 to them, but snowflakes, small dots is okay. Now let's reduce the spawn a little bit of them to a maximum of 600 and a minimum of 300. There. Alright. I think that will sell quite nicely. I save it. So make sure that I add a screenshot. And yeah, I need to set bounds, though normally when I set bounds, they mess up a little bit until I restart UE4. Now these aren't correct values, but for testing purposes they are fine. So sometimes when you get close and stuff is suddenly invisible depending on the angle. Often depends on when you, whenever you see, oh my god, my English. Whether you see the origin or not. If I don't see the origin, you can't see them until you restart. So sometimes it helps. I'm not sure it's gonna work now, but set fixed bounds sometimes works. And whenever I change the values now, you should still be able to see them even though. So if that doesn't work, try to set fixed bounds and that will fix them. That doesn't work always though, but it should be enough. Okay. That's that part. So the only thing left to do is actually get the force effect that shoots the emitter. As in at the velocity at the moment it hits the high point. That's something I really would love to add. Okay, that looks nice. Boom. All right. I think that's it for now. I'm gonna record the last part and actually making it the main spell in the next video, which will cost each of these about 6 times, one on each side. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that should give an overall nice look, I think. All right. I think that's it for now. Let's make a new video. Thanks for watching and take care.